Welcome to the voice behind the story. In this series, we follow Anna, a woman rebuilding herself piece by piece after love tried to break her. In part 2, we explore the silence between the storms. Because sometimes, the loudest screams come from within. When kindness feels unfamiliar. When safety feels suspicious. Each part reveals another layer of her healing. Because healing isn't always loud. Sometimes, it whispers through triggers and teacups. Subscribe. Like. Stay close, this might just be your story too. Broken heart, triggers, and teacups. Anna thought healing would feel warm. Like soft blankets and fresh tea. Like a clean slate. But sometimes, it felt like being cracked open by gentleness. And nothing had prepared her for that. It was a rainy Sunday, the kind Anna used to dread. In her old life, Sundays were silent punishments. No laughter, no warmth, just tension lingering like smoke in every corner of the house. But this Sunday was different. Victor, the man she was now seeing, had spent the morning cooking real food, not just reheated leftovers or a takeout box tossed on the table. He hummed while he chopped. He smiled at her when she passed by. Not the kind of smile that hides judgment, but the kind that says, "I see you. I'm glad you're here." It should have made her feel safe, but her hands were shaking as she held the teacup he handed her. "Careful, it's hot," Victor said softly. His voice wasn't sharp. It didn't bite. It didn't command. It didn't come with strings attached. And that was what made Anna's throat tighten. Because her body was wired for survival, not softness. Why does my heart race when he's kind? Why do I brace myself for something that never comes? Why can't I just enjoy the tea? She smiled back, a practiced, polite curve of the lips. But inside, it felt like a storm was brewing. That afternoon, Victor sat next to her on the couch. They watched a movie. Anna couldn't follow the plot. Her mind was busy trying to decode every micro-expression on his face. Was he annoyed? Was she too quiet? Too distant? Was she ruining the moment? And then he did something simple. So small. So harmless. He reached over and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. And her body flinched. She didn't mean to. She didn't want to. But she did. And the silence that followed was louder than the movie. "Sorry," she whispered, eyes down. "I don't know why I did that." Victor paused. His voice didn't change. His posture didn't stiffen. He just said, "It's okay. I'll never touch you in a way that makes you feel unsafe." That's when the tears came. Not the sobbing, dramatic kind, but the quiet, embarrassed ones. The kind that burn because you don't even understand why they're there. That night, Anna lay awake long after Victor fell asleep. She stared at the ceiling and tried to breathe through the knots in her chest. Why is it easier to trust pain than peace? Why does my nervous system confuse love with danger? And then she remembered. She remembered the first time her ex had made her flinch and how he blamed her for it. She remembered how, over time, she learned to anticipate cruelty. How she trained herself to smile even when she was dying inside. How she confused being chosen with being tolerated. And now this man, Victor, with his tea and his gentle hands, was offering her a new language. But she didn't speak it yet. The next morning, Anna stood in the kitchen, holding her teacup. It was the same one from yesterday. And this time, her hands weren't shaking. "You okay?" Victor asked. She nodded, then said, "Not really, but I want to be." He smiled. "That's enough." And in that moment, Anna realized healing isn't linear. Sometimes it looks like crying over tea. Sometimes it feels like flinching when someone is kind. But slowly, the body learns. And the heart begins to believe that love doesn't always hurt. That afternoon, Anna sat by the window, a book in her lap, untouched. Victor was in the kitchen, humming again, something soft, something old. She didn't recognize the tune, but it didn't matter. It made the air feel less heavy. She thought about how little things had begun to change. How she no longer apologized for how she held her mug. How she didn't freeze when his hand brushed hers. How she started talking about nothing, really, but it was still her voice. And when Victor sat beside her and leaned gently against her shoulder, she didn't flinch. She leaned back. They stayed like that for minutes that felt like hours. No grand declarations. No dramatic gestures. Just presence. She looked down at their teacups on the table, one still full, one almost empty. And for the first time in years, Anna didn't feel like she was waiting for something bad to happen. She was just there. Alive. Healing. Not healed, but healing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because what you'll hear next might just be your story too. Have you ever flinched when someone was kind to you? It's a strange kind of ache, isn't it? When safety feels foreign. Tell me, what was that moment for you? Let's talk about it in the comments. You're not alone. Not here.